How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Horror Stew. Today, I am wearing one of my spooky shirts, and you may notice that I shaved. So, yeah, I don't look like completely homeless anymore. But I shaved. I'm wearing my spooky shirt, and today we're filming the Halloween special. I mean, it's it's going to be released the day before Halloween, the last Friday of October. But in addition to that, today I'm actually doing something different. Now, normally I go for underrated horror films or other things in that nature. I did a overrated horror films episode, which I really enjoyed doing, actually. So I'll probably do some more of those in the future. But in addition to that, a lot of my horror stuff has been based on some things that I've looked at. I know we did the greatest zombie film of all time, was one of the first videos on the channel. But among that and other things, I really focused on underrated horror films, which is great. I still love doing that. However, today I'm going to do something different. I'm actually going to talk about a pretty mainstream horror series, which you could probably guess from the title. But today we're actually going to talk about the Halloween series. I'm going to be ranking the Halloween movies in regards to what I liked best and what I liked least. And then in addition to that, I'm going to give some brief commentary on some of the films as we go along. So I'm pretty excited to do this. I've not yet done a video like this, but I'm ready to do it today. So buckle up. We're talking about the Halloween series. So the Halloween series. Oh boy. I can say a lot of things about the Halloween series. For this, I will be taking into consideration every Halloween movie that's been released up to this point. That being said, at the very bottom of my list, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on these two films, and this is obviously no diss to Rob Zombie or the movies he made, because I get it. You know, it was his interpretive vision of the franchise, and I respect that. I do. I just think that the concept that was brought about in both of his versions of the film just were not quite up to par with what I would have wanted in a horror film. So Rob Zombie's had two films, Halloween and Halloween 2, respectively. Halloween 2 was released in 2009. I believe Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween, was released in 2007, I want to say. Please, I had a list, but it disappeared on me, so we're just going to go with that. But, so Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2 are probably going to be at the bottom of my list. But this is not to say that they're not enjoyable. I do think that Rob Zombie's interpretation of it is good. And honestly, the poster for the first Halloween movie, I'm going to obviously put those up here for you. But the poster for the first Halloween movie, Rob Zombie, that is actually really interesting. I think that he really did something creative. And honestly, the poster used to scare me as a kid. And the movies are somewhat terrifying. But I think the issue that I have with a lot of fans of the series is that you can make a great horror movie, but you put a character that is very well known in that horror movie, you really need to stick to the roots a little bit. But yeah, Halloween 1 and 2 of Rob Zombies, like I said, I'm not gonna really go too far into it. It had some good stuff about it. I can say some good stuff about it. But I'm not gonna meander too long on that. But really, I would say that's probably the bottom of my list. But, it is good in its own way if you can really suspend your belief a little bit. And honestly, if you can kind of forget about John Carpenter for just a second. But that would be probably at the bottom of my list in terms of worst. But also I kind of include them in their own list because they're not really what I would consider to be a traditional Halloween movie. So moving on from Rob Zombie, we're going to start kind of in the middle of the series in a way. The next worst horror film, and obviously there's 11, so that's 11, 10, and this is ninth place for me. Ninth place is going to be The Curse of Michael Myers. So that was in 1995. That was made the year I was born. It's crazy. So Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. It's a little bit of a different take on the Halloween genre in regards to Michael Myers and The Shape. It really, really cuts deep with the concept that everything that he does is familial ties and everything else. Honestly, I've watched a couple videos about this, and I can't remember who it was that did this video that I saw the other day, but it talked about how Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, the sequel to the original Halloween movie, sort of destroyed the franchise because it introduced the concept that Michael Myers was related to Jamie. Was it not Jamie Lloyd? That's the daughter of Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh my God, what's her name? Anyways, I'll think about it in a second. But it basically makes the concept that the Michael Myers is related to Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and really the films after 2 are so dead set in the concept of it's all about relation. It's all about it's his sister. That's why he's doing this. That's why he's going after Jamie Lloyd, because it's his sister's daughter. And man, something about Curse of Michael Myers just really irks me. Maybe because it has some pretty good cast members. I mean, it brought back Donald Pleasant as Dr. Loomis. It had Paul Rudd, a very young Paul Rudd in the movie. And I feel like it could have been better, but The Curse of Michael Myers just, it goes too far north on the supernatural spectrum, because it introduced the talisman of Thorn, or the mark of Thorn. And it tries to explain away Michael Myers' seemingly supernatural abilities as actual supernatural abilities, where I've seen more success with Michael Myers when they just act like he's supernatural. But in fact, he's not actually supernatural. He's just a normal guy who is hell-bent on, killing people, or, basically finishing what he started. Even with the whole familial ties thing, I can enjoy the other films, but The Curse of Michael Myers really just doesn't sit well with me. But it is what it is. So the next film, my number 8 film, the number 8 film in my opinion, so just kind of a recap, Rob Zombie was 11, 10, Curse of Michael Myers was 9, number 8, I'm going to go ahead and throw in Halloween Resurrection. So I will say I like Halloween Resurrection. It was a 2002 film that was a direct follow-up to Halloween H2O from 1998, but Halloween Resurrection is my number 8 film simply because Halloween Resurrection kills Jamie Lee Curtis's character. Kills Jamie Lee Curtis's character. And I feel like it was just such a spit in the face. We just watched a movie, right? We watched Halloween H2O, which was the precursor to Halloween Resurrection. We watched Halloween H2O. And Halloween H2O, it really gives Jamie Lee Curtis the title of a true final girl, because it gave us the input that she killed Michael Myers. Michael Myers is dead by the hand of his sister, which I don't really think the whole sister thing was necessary. I think that with the success of the new Halloween movie that came out recently, it's very clear that we don't need we don't need it to be familial, but that being said, the success, in my opinion, of latter films and films without the familial ties proves that we don't need that. And Halloween Resurrection, it does depart from that, but it doesn't depart from it quick enough, because it still kills Jamie Lee Curtis's character. It still kills Laurie. So that's what I'm thinking. Why? And I still I stand by that. Why kill her after you showed her to be triumphant? It almost just, it's a spit in the face. That's like, I'll say it again. It is a spit in the face, and I don't like it. Don't like it. Take your shit elsewhere. So now that I've gotten over my little tangent there. So we have, the Rob Zombie 11-10. We have 9. We have 8. Do we have 7? No, this is 7. So now we're on to 7. So from this point up until probably my top 3, honestly, 7 through 4 are kind of interchangeable. So I'll just kind of throw them out there. And honestly, I'm not saying this because these films are bad. It's just that these films are interchangeable. These films, in some way, shape, or form, are all equal in my eyes. Some less than others, because I enjoyed certain aspects of these films. I will say that, so Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, and Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, in my opinion, they are their own subset of movies, because they follow I think it's Jamie, I don't know if it's Jamie Strode, but it follows Laurie Strode's daughter, Jamie, and Jamie's also in The Curse of Michael Myers, but they really just kind of, honestly, they shit away a character with that. But with Halloween 4 and 5, they're kind of interchangeable for me, so I'll kind of put them out there as 7 and 6. They're kind of that subset, because honestly, I wish that they would have gotten rid of the shape, and they would have passed the torch to Jamie, because I feel like that could have been, that could have been new, that could have been invigorating, because obviously we've seen in the past that you can pass the torch on to a new killer, and it can be successful. But I feel like movie companies and movie production, they're so attached to the concept of having one central character, because that's been the formula for 50 years now, and it's tired and it's worn out. And with the new Halloween movies, I feel like they're taking a different perspective on it, which is great. But my 6th and 7th place would be Halloween 4 and Halloween 5, kind of interchangeable. My 5th place film, sorry, I had to think there for a second, is going to be Halloween 3, Curse of the Witch. So I put this up here because, honestly, it's not bad. It's not a Michael Myers movie, but it's not a bad Halloween movie. It has, honestly, I like the idea, because for people who don't know, the reason we even got Season of the Witch was because John Carpenter did not want to do any more movies about Michael Myers. Obviously, it was bound to happen because of how successful the concept of the shape Michael Myers is. And like I said, the films from like number 7 to like number 4 are kind of interchangeable, just because it is what it is. But like we said, we had Return and Revenge as 7, 6, 5 being Season of the Witch. But Season of the Witch wasn't bad. It just was what it was. And honestly, it had a potential, because I feel like John Carpenter, what he wanted to do is he wanted to make the rest anthology films. Not necessarily anthology, but like horror anthology. Like each film was different, which I feel like could have really succeeded. And I feel like they obviously could have brought back Michael Myers in later in the series and whatnot, and it still be successful. But I feel like they really just departed from what John Carpenter wanted to do, and they're just like, well, Michael Myers is pretty popular, let's just bring that guy back. And then they did. So after 3 was 4, because Season of the Witch was technically Halloween 3. It was a direct follow-up to the second Halloween film, and originally they were just going to leave Michael Myers dead, and they're like, okay, we're going to go in this different direction. But Season of the Witch was not nearly as popular, so they kind of, in a way, their hand was forced, and they had to circle back to the original concept. So that kind of leads us up to my top 4. So like I said, even the 4th place is kind of interchangeable in a way with all the other films from 7 up, but I'm going to take my top 4 here, and I'm really going to take a little bit of a sit down here, and I'm going to really explain out why these top 4 are my top 4. Everything else is kind of interchangeable in some way, shape, or form. Like I said, from 7 to 4 is kind of interchangeable, but we're going to kind of go top 4 here, and it's going to be my top 4 favorite Halloween franchise films right now. All right, so here we go. Top 4. Number 4, Halloween H2O. So Halloween H2O is sort of interchangeable. like I said, with the my other films from number 7 to number 4. However, as of right now, how I've been kind of interpreting the series and how I've been looking at it, Halloween H2O is honestly a really quality film. I know a lot of people didn't like Halloween H2O, but I feel like it opens up a very interesting concept. It's Halloween 20 years later, 1998, and honestly, it is a follow-up, because obviously what Halloween H2O does is it completely separates itself from all of the other films except for the first two. Even then, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not even sure now because I've not watched it in a while, but I'm not really sure if they even really include the whole Michael Myers burning to death in H2O, but they kind of ignore everything from Return of Michael Myers to Curse. So with Halloween H2O, I feel like it takes a little bit of a different path, but it still satisfies what we want to see in a Halloween film. That being said, H2O also does have its downfalls and everything else, which is why I kind of put it in that middle area where I can kind of switch it out with other films of the series. But Halloween H2O really does, I feel like, embody what a good sequel needs to have. It needs to bring back the original protagonist, and it needs to give a more cautious look at that individual, because, I mean, realistically, the Halloween H2O does what the 2018 Halloween film does very well, in addition, is that it shows a Laurie Strode that is not afraid, but she's cautious. She is afraid, but she's not terrified. Obviously the newer Halloween film in 2018 does a little bit of a better job of this, but of course, Halloween H2O is my number 4 pick because it does embody what I feel like is a more appropriate version of Laurie Strode trying to outlive her past. That being said, number 3 is Halloween 2. So, and this might be controversial because I feel like a lot of folks don't like Halloween 2. A lot of people don't like Halloween 2 because it set the series on a weird path. However, Halloween 2 was the first Halloween film I ever watched. Yes, I know it's out of order, but I watched it when I was younger. Younger as in like 14, 13 maybe. And I had never seen the first Halloween film, and I actually caught the second Halloween film on TV. It was obviously the TV edit, and then I later suck out the more unedited, non-theatrical, or maybe it was a theatrical release. Anyways, but it was the more unedited version, and I really liked Halloween 2, and part of it comes from a nostalgia factor because it's one of the first ones I saw, but it also comes down to Halloween 2 really did a couple things right for me. Halloween 2 is very dark and cynical, not just dark in terms of content, but also dark because it really gives the concept that Michael Myers is the Shape. He's this specter in a way, and it gives him more of a supernatural leaning without him being supernatural. And I feel like Halloween 2 does a really good job at that, and I feel like Halloween 2 is definitely shit on a little bit because it does put the series on a weird path by revealing that, Laurie Strode was actually a baby when Michael Myers killed his older sister, and, then she was given up for adoption or whatever the story was. I don't quite remember. But Halloween 2 is not a horrible film. 1981, pretty decent follow-up to the first film. Obviously not as much of a critical success, but it does earn its place as my top 3 film here. But then that leads us into number 2, which, as if you have not guessed yet, is the 2018 Halloween film. Now, this is probably going to be super controversial for anybody who has watched the entirety of the series. I feel like a lot of people have other picks for their top 2, but Halloween from 2018 is probably my number 2 film in the series. You're probably asking, how is that your number 2 film in the series? Honestly, it's my number 2 film in the series because it makes sense, okay? It is a good film. And it is the first time that I've ever watched a remake and actually thought to myself, this is good. I've watched so many horror remakes, and I can enjoy them. I can find good things about them. But very rarely can I sit down and say that this film lives up to the glory that was the original films. And honestly, it does. Halloween of 2018 is supposed to be a direct sequel that ignores every other movie except for the very first Halloween film. Now, it does tick me off a little bit that they didn't include the fact, because obviously this interpretation is saying that from Halloween 1, basically Michael Myers gets caught right after the events of Halloween 1. So we're ignoring the part where he got shot and got back up and escaped, right? We're ignoring Halloween 2. We're ignoring everything up until now. So from Halloween 1 to Halloween 2018, which, now that I think about it, it's like 40 years, is it? 40 or 50 years difference? I can't remember now. But irregardless, the point here being is that this specifically sets it on the track that it honestly, it kind of, in my opinion, concludes a franchise. And they are making 2 additional films, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, I think it is. Halloween Kills is slated for 2021. But the 2018 Halloween film, it really, in my opinion, it does what it needs to do, and it does it right. I mean, it's honestly, it's kind of hard for me to even, have this, agreement and within myself to say that this remake is better than some of the films that came before. It's better than the original sequel. But yes, Halloween 2018, in my opinion, it is my number 2 pick. And of course, as many people have probably already seen, the original Halloween, the 1970 Halloween movie, is my number 1 pick of this series. Now, this film, the original Halloween film, how can I say this? The original Halloween film is a landmark. It is a milestone of slasher proportions. There have been many slasher films in the 100-year history of film, okay? Thousands, tens of thousands, I would probably say. And the horror film genre is so expansive and so diverse that very rarely do we see such a phenomenal, outstanding motion picture that defines a generation. Halloween did, all right? I don't know if you know this or not, but if you haven't, there are so many films that rip off the tropes that, and I don't want to say rip off, they borrow, they take, they utilize the tropes that are created by the Halloween franchise. Now, for instance, Friday the 13th was, in my opinion, essentially a direct, now I don't want to say a direct rip off, but it was in a way a direct take from the original Halloween film in a way. They introduced this character that's a specter-like, almost supernatural-esque entity who is a slow-walking, slow-moving, creature who just making his way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and he's homebound. I mean, really. Thank you. Is that Vanessa Carlton, right? Anyways, and it really, that is what it is. The original 1978 Halloween movie, it set the bar super high, and it created a character that is still going strong. God, I mean, that's 50 years now. We're in the 2020s, so 1978 to present. Yeah, 40 years. So we're going on 40 to 45 years almost, 42, 43. Anyways, the point being is that he is still, Michael Myers is still here, dude. This guy is, this character is still active today. There are still movies being made. There are 2 movies in the works right now based off of this original film. So if not because the original film itself was just so great, it literally is a milestone achievement of monumental proportions. And that's it. It's number 1. 10 out of 10. Would watch 100 times. I'm probably going to watch it right now because I love it so much. But it's Halloween. Halloween. The greatest slasher film, in my opinion. The Halloween franchise. Ranked 11 to 1. There you go. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I actually had a lot of fun doing this. I actually filmed this video 2 times before I did this one. The original one, I just did kind of an overview and gave the series a rating. But then I thought to myself, I would actually rather rate these films because I feel like I would really enjoy giving the films a ranking in a way. Because quite honestly, I've done a lot about underrated horror films and everything else, and they're a lot of fun to do, but underrated horror films, they tend to have less than 3 films in a series, and sometimes, you know, rewatching and kind of relisting these films on a basis of them being just super popular is a lot of fun. So this has been the Halloween special, so I hope you guys enjoyed. It is the Halloween season. Tomorrow is October 31st. It is the spookiest day of the month, of the year. So I hope everybody out there is having fun. You know, of course, I want to give a very, 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 very gracious thank you to everybody who's continued to support us. And I do want to say, everybody out there who is going to be enjoying Halloween this year, I hope that you do, but please do it safely, please do it carefully, please protect yourself and the people that you care about, because we are still in a pandemic. So for everybody out there, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay spooky. We'll catch you in the next one. See ya.